The weakling from Earth. The halls of the Galactic Defense Academy hummed with mechanical precision, a symphony of marching boots, clicking talons, and the low thrum of anti-grav drills. The Academy floated above the storm-racked world of Delta Core, a metal fortress in orbit, where the galaxy's finest came to be broken down and rebuilt into soldiers. To the cadets of the 7th cohort, discipline was perfection, and perfection did not include humans. Cadet Rhea Morgan was easy to spot. Too short, too soft, too human. The only one breathing harder in the thin alien air, struggling to match the pace of towering reptilian Zarth and chittering insectoid Skari. Her uniform clung to her like a reminder that she didn't belong. "Pathetic," hissed a scaled cadet beside her as they jogged the orbital track. "Your species must have evolved from snails." Rhea said nothing. She just kept running. Her chest burned. Every breath felt like swallowing ice and fire at once. Gravity was heavier here, deliberately set to 1.3 g to weed out the weak. Sweat beaded on her brow, dripping down her neck as her boots struck the deck again and again. "Don't stop," she told herself. "They can laugh, but they won't see me quit." At the end of the course, she stumbled across the finish line, gasping for breath. Around her, alien cadets stood tall and composed. Some chuckled, others looked away with mild disgust. Then came the voice that silenced them all. Cadet Morgan. It was Drill Instructor Corvell, half metal, half flesh, his cybernetic eye glowing faint blue beneath a scarred brow. He towered above them, a veteran of 7 wars, and the kind of soldier who didn't need to raise his voice to command silence. Rhea snapped to attention, legs trembling. "Sir, your performance is inefficient. Your species' cardiovascular endurance is lacking." His tone was mechanical, devoid of insult. "Why are you still standing?" Rhea blinked sweat from her eyes. "Because I haven't earned the right to fall yet, sir." Something flickered behind the instructor's cold expression. Curiosity, maybe. He said nothing, only turned to the rest of the cohort. "Form up. Begin the next sequence." As they moved into sparring drills, the laughter started again. The cadets paired off Talon against Claw, Crystal against Plasma Armor, until one name remained unmatched. "Morgan," Corvell barked. "You will face Cadet Tarvak." Tarvak, a 4-armed Tarsien with obsidian skin and tusks like polished blades, grinned wide. "With pleasure." The circle formed. The gong struck. Rhea barely had time to brace before Tarvak's first strike sent her skidding across the floor. The impact knocked the air from her lungs. Gasps and snickers echoed. She rolled to her knees, blood at the corner of her mouth. "Yield, human," Tarvak said smugly. "Before I break something important." Rhea spat blood, lifted her chin. "You already did." The Tarsien snarled and lunged again. This time she sidestepped, barely. His upper arm missed her head by inches, but his lower one caught her in the ribs. Pain flared like lightning. She went down again, but not unconscious. Not yet. From the edge of her vision, she saw Corvell watching, arms folded. No sympathy. No rescue. "He's testing me," she realized. "Not my strength, my will." When the match ended by mercy call, Rhea staggered to her feet. The cadets expected her to limp away. Instead, she saluted. "Permission to repeat the exercise, sir." A murmur rippled through the room. Even Tarvak's grin faltered. Corvell stepped closer, the sound of metal against metal echoing through the hall. "Repeat. You were defeated in under 30 seconds. "Yes, sir," she said, voice steady despite the pain. "Then 31 will be my new record." For a moment, no one breathed. Then, without a word, Corvell nodded once. "Again." Rhea squared her shoulders, blood still on her lip, and faced the Tarsien once more. The laughter was gone now. The aliens watched in silence as she lunged forward, defiant, bruised, and very, very human. By the end of the second match, she still lost. But she lasted. When the hall finally emptied, Corvell stood alone with her. He looked down, his voice a low rumble. "Your world is young, human. But sometimes, the youngest species burns the brightest." Rhea met his gaze, exhaustion and fire mixed in her eyes. "Then let's see how bright we can burn, sir." The instructor gave the faintest nod. Prove it. And for the first time since arriving at the academy, Rhea Morgan smiled. What they don't understand. The days bled into weeks aboard the Galactic Defense Academy, each one measured in drills, data, and exhaustion. For most cadets, the rhythm became mechanical. For Rhea Morgan, it was survival by sheer will. No one spoke to her at the mess hall. Her table was always empty, her tray always cold before she finished half her meal. Around her, the alien cadets spoke in dozens of languages, clicking, humming, vibrating tones, but laughter was universal. And it always started when she walked in. Humans were the newcomers to the Galactic Coalition, a species so young the stars barely knew their name. The others saw her as an experiment, or worse, a joke. Still, she trained harder than anyone. While others retired to their sleep pods, Rhea ran extra laps in the gravity dome, lungs screaming in the thinner air. Her knuckles bled from striking practice drones. Her muscles burned under constant weight. Every day she fell. Every day she rose again. She wasn't here to prove she could fight. She was here to prove why humans fought. One evening, during weapon simulation, the cadets were split into squads. The goal: secure a data beacon inside a simulated ruin, a war-torn city modeled after ancient battles. The alien cadet leader, Zathrek, was efficient, logical, precise, everything Rhea wasn't supposed to be. As the simulation began, Zathrek's voice rang out through comms: "Hold position until the AI command issues orders." Rhea frowned inside her helmet. "We'll be pinned down if we wait. Those bots are already flanking us." The Tarsian beside her sneered. "Your human instincts are irrelevant. The AI predicts optimal movement." The first explosion cut off his words. The enemy drones advanced, plasma fire streaking through the rubble. Rhea ducked behind cover, dust clouding her visor. "Zathrek," she shouted over comms. "We need to move now." "Negative. Awaiting AI directive." Rhea swore under her breath. That hesitation would get them all killed. Acting on instinct, she crawled through the wreckage, sparks flying as debris rained down. She found the beacon's power node, half destroyed. With nothing but a rifle battery and her field knife, she rigged a feedback pulse, a trick she'd learned back on Earth during the Pacific Defense Wars. She hit the trigger. The pulse exploded outward, disabling enemy drones in a 30-meter radius. The static on comms cleared. Zathrek's voice crackled through. "What was that?" "Improvisation," Rhea replied, pushing to her feet. "You're welcome." By the end of the exercise, her squad had secured the beacon. But when the results appeared on the debrief holoscreen, the system credited Zathrek for the victory. Rhea didn't protest. She simply smiled, packed her gear, and left the room while the others whispered. That night, she trained alone in the vacuum dome. No air. No sound. Just her heartbeat echoing in her helmet. Every breath she took was measured. Controlled. Earned. In the silence, memories rose like ghosts, Earth burning under alien skies, soldiers screaming through static, her commander's voice fading in her earpiece. "Don't die proving you belong, Rhea. Live proving they were wrong." She took another slow breath. "I'm still here, sir." A soft metallic sound broke the silence, behind her the sound of armored footsteps. Rhea turned and found Instructor Corvell standing at the dome's edge, his mechanical eye glinting in the starlight. "Most cadets sleep when their cycle ends," he said. "Most cadets aren't being laughed at by an entire academy," she answered, keeping her stance straight. Corvell studied her, his expression unreadable. "You defied simulation protocol today." "Saved the squad, sir." He tilted his head slightly. "And received no recognition for it." She shrugged. "I didn't do it for them." For a long moment, the instructor said nothing. Then he stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I fought alongside hundreds of species, human. I know precision, I know logic. But what I saw today," his gaze hardened, "that wasn't training. That was instinct. It frightened even the machines." Rhea didn't know how to respond. Corvell continued, softer now. "You don't fight like a recruit. You fight like a commander who's forgotten how to stop." Rhea gave a tired smile. "That's about right, sir." He nodded once, almost approvingly. "Then keep forgetting." As he left, Rhea turned back toward the stars beyond the dome. 1,000 alien suns shimmered in the void, distant and cold. But somewhere among them, Earth glowed faintly blue, fragile, defiant, alive. And for the first time since leaving home, Rhea Morgan didn't feel small. She felt dangerous. Trial by fire. The alarm klaxons shattered the night cycle. Red lights flared through the dorm corridors as cadets stumbled from their sleep pods. The voice of Instructor Corvell boomed through the Academy's comm system, hard and urgent. This is not a drill. All cadets report to combat stations immediately. For a heartbeat, no one believed it. The Academy hadn't seen real combat in decades. But then the tremors hit the unmistakable vibration of orbital gunfire. Rhea Morgan was already in motion. She slammed her armor seals shut, sprinting toward the hangar with the rest of the 7th cohort. Outside the transparent bay doors, streaks of fire cut through the void ships burning in orbit. A pirate fleet, Corvell's voice explained. Raiders from the outer fringe. They had ambushed a coalition supply convoy just a few clicks from the Academy. The cadets were the closest able force. They were being deployed ready or not. Inside dropship Delta 9, the tension was electric. Zathrek, the squad leader, barked orders, voice trembling beneath forced confidence. Formations Alpha 7. We will await AI command before. AI's already jammed, Rhea cut in, scanning her HUD. They're scrambling our signal frequencies. We're on our own. The alien cadets stared at her, uncertain. For weeks, they'd laughed at her instincts. Now, in real battle, those instincts might be all they had. The ship jolted violently. Plasma fire tore past the viewport, grazing the hull. A cadet screamed as sparks showered from a ruptured conduit. "Brace for drop," the pilot roared. The ship plunged through the upper atmosphere, rattling like a tin can in a storm. When the doors burst open, chaos flooded in smoke, heat, and the distant scream of engines. The convoy wrecks burned below, metallic skeletons scattered across the sand. "Take cover," Rhea shouted, pulling a wounded AR-Kesh cadet behind a fragment of hull plating. Zathrek froze mid-command, overwhelmed. The pirates were fast insectoid marauders with energy rifles and scavenged armor. Their formations were erratic, unpredictable. The cadets hesitated, trying to align by textbook strategy. Textbooks got soldiers killed. Rhea's voice cut through the confusion. "Zathrek, give me your comm uplink." "What? Now?" He hesitated only a moment before tossing it to her. Rhea connected it to her visor, rerouting the signal. Her fingers flew across the panel crude, instinctive, human. She overrode the AI interface, building a temporary network on pure intuition. "AR-Kesh, take high ground. Tarxians, anchor the left flank. Everyone else, keep pressure on their forward line, make them think we're retreating." Zathrek gawked. "You can't. Just trust me." The pirates advanced, shrieking. Rhea triggered her improvised command, looped the reprogrammed uplink, detonated a dormant plasma cell near the wreckage, creating a flash of light and heat. The pirates recoiled, blinded. "Now, push." The cadets surged forward. Plasma bolts lit the sky as they moved with newfound cohesion, following her voice. One by one, the pirates fell back, their formation collapsing. By the time the smoke cleared, silence hung heavy over the battlefield. The raiders were gone. The convoy survivors emerged from the wrecks, alive, shaken, but alive. The alien cadets turned to look at Rhea. No one laughed. No one spoke. Zathrek approached, his posture rigid, but his eyes uncertain. "You disobeyed standard protocol." "Yeah," Rhea said, sliding her rifle onto her back. "And saved your tails doing it." Before he could respond, a low metallic sound echoed from behind footsteps on scorched metal. Instructor Corvell emerged from the haze, armor gleaming under the smoke-filled light. His mechanical eye glowed faintly blue as it scanned the scene, the enemy wreckage, the cadets, and the humans standing at the center of it all. He stopped in front of Rhea. For a long moment, silence stretched between them. The cadets waited, tense, expecting a reprimand. Then Corvell's hand rose. He stood at full height, a veteran of the Galactic Wars, and delivered a crisp, flawless salute. The entire field went silent. "Cadet Rhea Morgan," he said, voice carrying like thunder, "by authority of the Coalition Defense Command, you are hereby designated Tactical Advisor to the 7th Cohort. Your performance today exemplified adaptive command and field innovation under fire." Rhea blinked, stunned. "Sir, He cut her off with a raised hand. "No excuses, human. You acted when others froze. You thought when machines failed. You led." The cadets, still covered in dust and ash, straightened instinctively. Even Zathrek pressed his fist to his chest, the Coalition's sign of respect. For the first time, Rhea didn't feel like the outsider. She felt like a soldier among soldiers. Corvell lowered his salute and said quietly, just for her, "Now they see what I saw." That night, the Academy's mess hall was quiet. When Rhea entered, no one looked away this time. The AR-Kesh sniper even nodded toward her seat, the one that had always been empty. She hesitated for a moment, then smiled and sat down. Outside the viewport, the stars burned bright, and somewhere in that endless dark, a new story of humanity had just begun. The human lesson. The Academy was different now. The corridors still echoed with the clang of boots and drill commands, but the laughter had changed. It wasn't mocking anymore, it was shared. The cadets who once sneered at the human recruit now greeted her with nods of respect. Even Zathrek, ever formal, asked her opinion before every training exercise. Cadet Rhea Morgan had become something more than a curiosity. She was an example, living proof that humanity had earned its place among the stars. Under the simulated sunlight of the tactical dome, Rhea's voice carried across the training grounds. "Don't wait for the AI. Use your gut. Anticipate your enemy's movement." A squad of mixed-species cadets stumbled through a simulated canyon, following her command sequence. A Tarsien braced to fire his plasma rifle, but she grabbed his arm. "No, not there. They expect you to shoot from cover flank left. Surprise is your best weapon." The Tarsien blinked, confused but obeyed. Moments later, the simulation ended with a decisive win. The cadets cheered. From the observation deck, Instructor Corvell watched silently, arms folded. His mechanical eye glowed faintly as it tracked the human below, her posture, her tone, her leadership. Every day, she reminded him less of a cadet and more of a commander. After training, Corvell summoned her to his office, a stark metal chamber overlooking the planet storms below. She entered and saluted. "Sir." "At ease," he said. "You've reshaped this cohort, Cadet Morgan. Their tactics are sharper. Their cohesion is stronger. And their morale," his lips twitched in the faintest hint of a smile, "is louder." Rhea chuckled softly. "Humans are contagious, sir." "Apparently." He leaned against the console. "But tomorrow, we face a greater test. The Coalition Command is sending an inspection team. They will evaluate the Academy's readiness, and they've requested a demonstration of your leadership." Her brows furrowed. "A test. A war simulation. You'll lead a full mixed unit against a veteran strike team. They'll be expecting you to fail." "Then they're in for a surprise," she said, a spark in her eyes. Corvell gave a single approving nod. "Don't prove them wrong, Morgan. Prove them human." The next day, the grand arena was packed. High-ranking officers and instructors filled the stands, their insignias gleaming. The simulation field shimmered a recreation of a war-torn city. Smoke, fire, ruins. Across the battlefield, the veteran strike team stood ready, massive, armored, disciplined. Rhea's unit looked smaller by comparison, a patchwork squad of cadets from half a dozen species. But they stood with her willingly. The horn blared. Immediately, the veterans moved in flawless formation. Rhea's team scattered, seemingly chaotic, but there was method in the madness. "Tarsien flank. AR-Kesh, on my mark now," she shouted, her commands rapid, adaptive. They followed, using terrain, improvisation, and timing no algorithm could predict. Plasma fire illuminated the smoke-filled field. The veterans countered with brute force, expecting panic. Instead, they met misdirection. Rhea had taught her squad the oldest human rule of war: if you can't win by the book, write a new one. Halfway through, she set off a chain of smoke charges, creating a dense fog. Her squad moved unseen through the haze, repositioning while the veterans wasted fire on ghosts. When the simulation ended, the holographic scoreboard flashed in bold letters. Victory Cadet Rhea Morgan Unit. Silence. Then murmurs. Then full applause. On the command platform, the coalition inspectors exchanged stunned looks. She outthought them, one muttered. With cadets. Corvell's mechanical eye glowed brighter. No, he said quietly. She taught them. After the simulation, Rhea stood at attention before the reviewing officers. Sweat streaked her face. Her armor was scorched and dented. One of the senior officers, a crystalline being with a voice like chimes, addressed her. You led a unit with less than 6 months of training to defeat a veteran strike force. Explain your method. Rhea straightened. We stopped fighting like machines, sir. We fought like humans. A pause. Then, slowly, the officer inclined his head. Accepted. As they left, Corvell approached. Without a word, he removed his cap and gave her a deep, deliberate salute. Respect, he said, is not written in code or granted by rank. It's earned by fire. Rhea smiled faintly. Then we burned bright, didn't we? Bright enough, Corvell said, that the galaxy will remember. Later, as night settled over the academy, Rhea stood by the viewport. The stars stretched endlessly cold, distant, beautiful. Somewhere out there, Earth spun quietly, unaware that one of its children had just changed the way an empire saw her kind. Behind her, cadets' laughter echoed faintly in the halls, not cruel, but joyful. She smiled, whispering to herself. They laughed at the human recruit, but they'll never laugh at humanity again. And with that, Cadet Rhea Morgan, the first human of the Galactic Defense Academy, turned back toward the stars, ready for whatever came next.